All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible weekend. And Peter, welcome back. I hope you had an incredible time off, man. How you doing today? Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I had a great break. It was nice to just get out and do something different and see no snow for 2 weeks. That's probably my biggest
Nice.
accomplishment. So,
Very
how are
nice.
things back here in the home office while I was gone?
Things actually has been really good, very active. And AMD, when you were gone, had an incredible
Ah,
couple of days
don't
trading
I know
there.
it? I had to have my whiskey at the ready because to
Yeah,
get my
yeah.
scotch out, especially the last couple of days, as it broke back through 100.
Exactly, exactly. So we were all, cheering that on there, and then that has been a very volatile week last week for sure. Um, Guys, let's get into some of the stuff that's happening here. I'm going to look over at my controller's not working, so I'm doing things a little manual. But looking over at our gappers list today, a lot of green in the screen this morning, and as the title shows on YouTube, nothing broke over the weekend, so that's good. We are starting things okay. Looks like this morning. A lot of these are banks, right? A lot of FRC leading the way as usual. PACW, many financial institutions that are smaller banks that are doing pretty good this morning, and you can see some of that stuff happening there. Then you got the big guys towards the bottom: Citigroup, Bank of America, and some others are going to make their way up here also. The only one down this morning is JD, down 2%. So interesting on their drop there. We'll dive into what's taking place there when we get to it. But let's go over to the market pulse and see what's going on for today and this week.
Yeah, well, look, it's a relatively quiet day. Let's start with the international markets. Things are fairly calm, generally a green day. If we look across the world, because the North America are really the last markets to open in the world, and everything looks generally good. That's echoed in our markets. As you saw, the gappers list was predominantly green. I had to stretch to put something on the economic calendar back here for the North American market impact. The Dallas Fed doesn't tend to have any impact on the market really. And then the Jefferson is speaking, but that's after the market close. So really not a news day today. Even on earnings, we've got a couple of offerings that we'll talk about with earnings, but not much. I love these days. These are generally good trading for me because they yield market opportunities because things move without a lot of external influence. Now, that being said, like I keep reminding you all the time, just keep in mind we still have economic activity, especially happening in North America with the banks situation and of course announcements out of the White House. Those types of news events can cause the market to move a little erratically. We saw some of that last week, and at least me looking back, I could see some of those in the charts at the end of the day for related to news. So we could get that, but there's nothing scheduled at this point. So we should start to look at the stuff that is moving and go from there.
All right, thank you very much, Peter. Oh, and also, by the way, thank you to Thor for covering last week. We appreciate that very, very much.
Yeah,
Um,
I especially appreciate that. Thank you, Thor, for stepping in and doing a great job.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I want quick reminder, and I'll do this throughout the show for a couple of days while we do this. As you know, we're moving our channel to our pre-market show to a brand new YouTube channel. That's going to be called BBT Community, and that channel is gonna focus on a lot of the. Let me get the link here. A lot of the recaps. So Andrew's recap is going to be moving there, and then this channel, this main channel, still be active, but it'll focus more on other type of videos, more educational type of videos. So again, we're doing the transition slowly. Let me get you guys the link over on YouTube, also in our tab here, so you guys can follow it as we do that transition. So YouTube, and it's going to be the BBT Community channel over on YouTube. Um, and again, we'll still stream here into about another week or so, but slowly we'll move on to that one. I can't find the link here. Let me see where it is. All right, I'll look for this link, but in the meantime, yeah, it's the BBT community link. I have to find this thing. All right, excellent. While we look for that, guys, let's hop into our gappers list this morning. We'll start by Control A, Control X, and that's going to get rid of everything on here. And then we're going to look over to our gappers list, FRC leading the way this morning. These guys are up 30%, almost 80 from the year still, but up 20% this morning, which has been a good run for a lot of people. They're liking that. this morning, and the rest of the banks, PAC, W, financial institutions are up this morning. You guys know how I feel about these. I think they're very, very spotty and difficult to trade. So I've been kind of staying away from them with their volatility holds and their and just their kind of their crazy price action. So for me, this has not been more of a don't trust this right now type of play. So, Peter, I know you're just getting back. Have you had it before you left? Did you trade any of the this regional banks?
No, most of this happened just as I was leaving, so I really didn't get that opportunity having left 2 weeks ago on a Friday. But yeah, and they've been crazy volatile. I've been looking at the charts after hours, and yeah, it's not something I would trade. That being said, I do think, Carlos, they're starting to stabilize a little bit. But as you pointed out, FRC up 20%. Now, of course, this is down so much that a 20% increase is only $2 now compared to when it was a $30 stock, when that, the same 20% would have represented $6, right? So we have to sort of
Yeah,
keep those types of levels in mind. FRC is oh yeah, even more actually. If we go back here, I mean,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was $100 stock. It wasn't even looking back far enough on my own chart. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so big difference on what 20% actually means against this stock at this point in time. That being said, remember I mentioned news a minute ago. Well, this is an example of the type of news. The Fed is considering expanding their program to provide emergency funding to all of these banks that are that have had issues. FRC specifically was given extra time to shore up their balance sheet to try and make sure that they manage their assets appropriately. So, there's a lot of dispensation being given by the U.S. Fed to these banks. They've always had a program, or at least for the last 100 years, had a program of trying to ensure that banks don't fail, and that has really caused a. I mean, their intent is to stabilize the market. I've got some views on that, but we don't need to get into that. But the point that we need to worry about is how is that going to impact these stock prices? Further news that the banks will be supported and or given more time is just going to be a positive uplift for these specific stocks. And as Carlos pointed out, there are volatile, so just be careful there. But I do think there might be opportunities if you see them trading like we would expect of a good trading stock and it fits your strategy. So I may, for at the moment, until we find something better, I may put FRC on my secondary list. And like you mentioned, Carlos, down the list we have some of the bigger banks. Those might be your safer bet, right? If you want to stick with the majors, JP Morgan,
Yep.
Citibank, Bank of America, we always, we know those. They're not usually great movers, but in this era, they're getting a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit more attention.
And that's a good point you bring up. I mean, when we were watching Bank of America last week, people were questioning, well, this bank really sucks. It does. This not the bank. The stock really sucks as far as movement. But the last couple
Right.
of days, guys, we've seen an increase in volume, and we've seen some really good intraday action. Like Bank of America right now, their pre-market activity looks really good, right? So out of these banks, look at Citigroup as well. Citigroup, not so much volume, but still moving nicely, I see. But I'll put Bank of America on a day like today, and like we have been all last week. All right, then the rest of these guys, again, all regional banks. I can't see anything that's not part of this regional movement except DB. Is this oh, it's a Deutsche Bank, right? Almost confused it with
Yeah.
Dropbox, but no, this is Deutsche Bank. So same thing here. USB, another bank as well. They're the ones bailing out some of the other banks in Europe. So you pick your poison, guys, if you want to watch this one. The only thing I really like here, guys, is Bank of America and maybe Citigroup. But let's look at TWLO this morning. They're popping up 2.3, 144 thousand shares traded. Not looking too hot right now. Not a great trader unless they have some kind of news that's driving them. And if there is any news driving them today, I don't see that being very active. Here is SQ. SQ looks good, guys. We had a huge drop on this last week, right? On that hit piece that was released from I forget the company that released the hit piece on them, but they're gapping up here 2.2 this morning, 519,000. This can be a good one for today. So I'll add SQ on here and see what blog has for us this morning. There was one in the gap down list. It disappeared, no longer there. So Peter, we'll go straight to you. What do you like this morning on your list?
Well, as you mentioned, JD was on the list, but
JD.
it
Yeah.
had dropped. It's not really doing much, frankly, and it's not heavily in play. Um, the only two things that I would mention that you haven't mentioned are those that have earnings. BNTX, that's occasionally been a decent trader. Not very active this morning. They did have earnings. They beat their numbers. That's looking positive. If you like that type of stock, BNTX. But as I said, the volume is very low this morning, so it's not looking that exciting. The other one I'll mention is Carnival Cruise Lines. Now their earnings oddly don't come out until 15 minutes before the open, so I'm expecting those at about 9:15. But it might be worth keeping CCL on the list. You got a CLL and a CCL up there. But
Yeah, it looks
there
like
you
the
go.
top under the neck. There we go.
But yeah, Carnival Cruise Lines, I mean, look at the chart right now. They actually have some volume pre-market, but it's still not good price action. You really need a lot of volume in CCL for it to move well. But we'll see what happens in the earnings. I mean, if there's no surprises, frankly, it's probably not going to trade that well. If there are big surprises in their earnings, positive or negative, then maybe it'll be an opportunity. So keep in mind when Carnival moves, right, it tends to take the other two that I tend to watch with it. That's Royal Caribbean, RCL, and Norwegian, NCLH. So again, if you like the sector, it might be the morning for you. But we're grasping at straws a little bit because
Yeah,
there's not a
yeah.
lot on the list.
There's just not definitely not a lot to choose from. That's for sure. CCL,
Yeah.
I like the possibility here too, Peter. So I'll put him as a possible for now, and we'll have to see how
Yeah.
things are going to play out.
I mean, I clearly have to mention AMD. It's obviously been great over the last 2 weeks while I've been
Yeah,
gone. Big move up. It looks like about a week and a half ago that I missed from 90 all the way up to almost 100, and then it finally broke through Thursday, I think, of last week, and then held it or Wednesday, and then broke through and held it on Thursday. So who knows? Maybe today will be a good day. I certainly am going to be watching it because I like it at this price. So, but this morning, pretty average volume. No real news on it. Nothing special to write home about.
yeah, yeah.
Carlos, just in other offerings, we've got the
Sure.
standard. Looks like Tesla still been moving well, although it's been stuck in a very tight range of about,
Yeah,
I don't know, about $7 or $8 here. I've noticed over the last 4 or 5 days. If you look at the daily chart, and which is odd for Tesla, it doesn't normally, constrain itself. But I noticed that it's done that, sort of had it at a range the week before. Then it jumped up to this range and has held that. I don't. Maybe this week is going to be another, jump to a level and then hold it. But it usually gives you good trading because we know we can at least trust the volume to come in.
yeah, yeah. They went through a period where they were not, they were very choppy in the market open at first, but they're back to trading very well. We've been putting them on our list, especially last week, because you're right. Even though this range is stuck within this range, it's a very nice big range, like $8, right? So you can still catch some really good moves out of that movement there. Today, their pre-market action looks really, really good. They will be hopping onto our gap up list if they can get over that 2%. But the volume is there, guys, 1.6 million, a lot less than what we're used to seeing. If you guys remember, around this time, we were seeing Tesla, they started with like 3 million, 5 million, 6 million. And then it kind of went down to 3 last week, then 2. And then we've been seeing it lower and lower pre-market. Throughout the day, they're still getting great volume, but we did go through a stretch there where there was a significant difference in the pre-market volume, and I don't know if that caused some of the chop, but we did see some of the chop throughout the day. But today, guys, looking really good. Like this pre-market action, definitely on the list. Um, let's head over to our chat, guys, both YouTube and also on our members tab here. What do you guys have this morning? I see Nicholas giving us Apple this morning. I haven't really been watching Apple. I know they had a great day last week, a couple of good days. But Apple's been on the back burner for me, and this is kind of why. If you look at Friday, man, it's just seems they still get the daily move, right? Their daily move goes from here to here, which is nice. But the way they're doing that, at least for the time frame I'm trading, it's been pretty nasty, right? This is very choppy until later parts of the day they actually get going. So, uh, has not have not been one of my main go to. I do like the daily here for a possible breakout. So maybe today we could get something good out of Apple. Let's see. We'll put Apple on there this morning. I heard on the news there's Tim is having some discussion with China, on their supply chain and all of that. Because if you guys know Apple, I mean they depend on that heavily, and just everything going on, they want to make sure everything is intact. But I don't see that's affecting them this morning. They're still pretty much flat as of now. Here's Oxy, Chris G. Oxy today. Um, uh, they got a gap of 1.5. Again, Oxy's pre-market activity, you can't really put too much weight on, so you really have to wait for the market open. I'll put this as a secondary. We'll come back to it. I like the gap up, but again, there's just not much you can go by when it comes to Oxy into the bell rings, right? You just don't know. Like if you look at this pre-market, actually looks more active than what we have right now, and it turned to be a crappy day. And then this pre-market action could turn to the best day ever for Oxy. So it's just such hit and miss with the trying to read the pre-market action and to determine if it's in play or not. Manfred, boil to zero. We'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see. It's here at 384. I mean, it's definitely taken a bit of a hit. I don't trade this one, this kind of ETF. I stay away from, but just be careful, guys, if you are going to be trading this thing here.
Yeah, this sector UNG Boyle. If you watch those indices, I mean, obviously they've looks like they've had a tough couple of weeks while I've been gone, but
Yeah,
really they've had a
yeah,
tough year, right? 2023 hasn't been good, and 2022 ended on the way down for these. So yeah, it's surprisingly low and holding down there. So I don't know what it's going to do today, but when I watch them, they tend to look like Boyle, for example. You can tell that it's really a lot of algorithmic trading just by the way the price action sits in the pre-market, and I find that carries through the open. So yeah,
yeah,
maybe it's an
yeah.
options play if you like trading that, but for me, it's not something I would look at.
Yeah, I know there's some. And I think Art was it Artie. Artie took a nice swing trade when he caught this bounce from here. I'm sure he's probably all out
Mm.
of it now. But it's great for swing trading if you're if you're watching the market slowly and kind of can expect a move on the overall sector. But for day trading, I find it tough as well. ATVI, what's going on with these guys? I know they were in talks of did Microsoft did it go through already? I believe talks about Microsoft actually purchasing this. I mean, that's been talk for some time now, but I think they finally are getting some headway on that.
Yeah, they're the UK regulators, right, have been saying how they've been taking a very close look at this deal. They've got some concerns over what it's going to do to the market. They basically said that um, they haven't let them off the hook, so they haven't approved it, but they said they narrowed the focus to very specific areas of the business, which
Hmm.
means that they could still go through, I guess, with the merger and the acquisition as long as they meet some requirements on their cloud gaming, which seems to be where they're focused right now. So who knows? I mean, it's just a little bit of positivity against it. ATVI, I've never found it to move very well. Like I always have these high hopes for it, and then it always seems to disappoint me. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, hey, if it's a stock that you like, then by all means. But that's really what the news is.
yeah. I don't like this one either. I mean, we had a few. I can't remember. It was like 3 years ago now that it traded very well. Some all gaming news. But again, since then I have not actually touched it. I'm gonna put it as a possible. It barely has any volume right now. I like the gap up that we had on Friday, but this morning with not much going on at the moment. So we'll have to wait to see how the market open is going to treat this one. I'll tell you this: if something goes wrong with this situation, if something comes out as far as this deal not going through, right, then you can see a real nice move towards the downside, even lower, right?
Right.
So this is kind of like a rumors type play right now. It's anticipating that hey, things might go well, but if something goes south very quickly, then this can be a nice play. But you got to keep your ears tuned to the news there to be able to catch any of that move. Um,
Yeah, that's a good point, Carlos. Because look at the jump that you're just pointing out. I mean, that jump was due to the positivity around the UK sort of
right.
easing their concerns, but they haven't let them go. So all it takes is one news article to say, no, the UK's doubled down, and you could
Hmm.
lose all of those gains, or they're going to implement a poison pill or some difficulty in the merger, or like you said, they release the requirements and say, no, we're good, we're going to let the merger go ahead, and this thing could shoot up. But you're completely dependent on that news, I think, for that big move to occur.
Yeah, yeah. Let's head over here to BLKB. What's that one? BLKB. I don't think I ever heard of this one. Black
No,
Alt.
it's it seems to be a merger is what's
Oh,
happening with it. So and basically a buyout. So
okay.
the
Yeah.
buyout, you can see where the price is. The price jumped up and it's sitting right there. There's
Hmm.
they got an offer at $71 a share, all in cash. So that's why the price jumped, as it usually does, to just below whatever the offer price is. So it's
Yeah.
probably not going to be in play.
Yeah, not a good one for today. Let's take a look at Rivian this morning. Let's see what's going on with Rivian. Their daily looks like they're bottoming out here. Like, they're probably getting some kind of support build around 1350. You can see the bounces off of that. I don't like the way this thing has been trading when it's here at these low prices. Again, the volume is not there. It seems very choppy. So I've been staying away from it. But if you do like how the daily setting up on this, I do agree. If any positive signs, you can get a nice little breakout, even to like 1430 will be a really good move for this one. But I don't really like the way this thing has been moving. Let's head over down to Baba, and I see Prince Trader. You have that on your main list today. Let's take a look on how Baba is performing this morning. Not a whole lot of volume, and it's not gapping up enough or up or down for the when I like to have this set up, right? When I'm looking for a play on it. Now the daily could possibly get going here if we see some strength, but I really like this one, man. When it's away from the previous previous day close, either up or down on that morning. I'm not seeing that today, so it won't be on my list because of it. Let's take a look at Roku over on YouTube. Roku this morning, pretty quiet, up slightly, but not a whole lot going on right now. And again, Roku is another one that was trading very well, and we just haven't seen them do all that good lately. So again, I don't watch it every day, but the few times I have, hasn't been great.
Bubba's another news-driven, at
Oh, it
this
is.
point. So Jack Ma, as you may remember, made some comments that the Chinese government didn't like, and then he disappeared for a while, and then resurfaced, and he's issued the statement that everything was good, but he's been traveling for months on end outside of China. The news that broke over the last couple of days was that he's been cited inside China, back in mainland China. So believing, sort of people are using that as an indication to say, oh, like everything's good. He's not under fear of, you know,
Yeah.
reprisals or arrest anymore. Therefore, that's good for business in China and good for his business specifically. So we're seeing Baba get a little bit of a push up there. Remember, this is a pretty big stock, and while that news is good, when the markets open, Bubba will do probably what it normally does. It usually gets big volume. It tends to move, I don't know, in ways that can't be predicted. So it's a good one to watch because it gets the volume, but it's not necessarily a good one to trade if you can't predict what it's going to do based on your strategies. Mine don't work on it very well.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's see here, guys. So Roku, we looked at Nvidia. How about Nvidia? We have AMD this morning, right? Did we look at AMD today? We
We mentioned
did.
it in
Yeah,
passing. I
we
did talk
mentioned
about
that. I
it. Yeah.
forgot to add it on there. Yeah, AMD looks good. And this morning already nice move off the 99 here. 98,
Mm.
97, back to the previous day close. So you do got some movement on it already this morning. I do like the daily. It can set up to go anywhere from here on AMD.
Yeah.
So I like that
A
this
couple
morning.
members and a couple of friends in YouTube mentioned Nvidia. Nvidia, is worth talking about when you talk about AMD. Those two have been really leading this sector in terms of tradability, right, and their
Yeah.
price movement. So Nvidia has been a good trader. I mean, it really has. You're dealing with 2.5 times, almost 3 times the price point of an AMD. So if that's a price at which you're more comfortable, then look at Nvidia. Nvidia also moves a little differently than an AMD, but it's been solid. So it's worth maybe keeping an eye on if you think there's going to be some opportunity for you on it today.
Yeah. What else we got here? SI. I see that being thrown out. What is SI? This is Silvergate. Yeah, no, this is no good, guys. This is a no, 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 no
Sports
for me.
Illustrated. Oh no, right?
Yeah.
Every time that's what I think.
Oh man, yes, throwback. But yeah, no, this is no good, guys. Don't like the stock here. Don't like the price on it. Don't like the way it trades. Had a big down fight as far as volume. Not sure what that means if they had any news. But again, just not a real good intraday trading ticker. Let's take a look at with that. You got Riot, right? You got some other ones on here. I believe Coin is the better trader out of all of these. We had some good plays last week on this one. You had an interesting gap down there, and you did get some opportunities. For the most part, they're pretty flat right now. I don't see anything happening with Coin or Mara at the moment, so we'll skip on those. Um, okay, excellent, guys. FRC, yeah, we do have FRC. Yeah, we talked about it. That's more
We
of a
did talk
possible
it
for
off the
me.
top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, more of a possible, guys. It is in play. Just again, be very, very careful with this one, right? It's up 30%, 17 million shares traded. The volume is just insane on this thing. Just be careful if you're going to be trading this one. All right, let's stop here, guys. Let's get over to community events and announcement. But before we do that, again, another reminder, guys, we are going to be moving this pre-market show over to our new YouTube channel. YouTube is called BBT Community. The link, I just dropped it on there on our YouTube chat. So make sure you follow that. Again, this week we'll start streaming on that one probably by the end of the week. So make sure you're switching over there to be ready to go on that channel. And on our members tab, I also have it here for you guys because that is where Andrew's going to be moving his recap going forward. So make sure you follow that channel to get to be on top of those recaps. All right, excellent. Let's get over to community events and announcements, and we'll come back and fine tune this list. Let me switch over here. Here we go.
While Carlos is doing that, I'll say, welcome to a new week. We are in the last week of March, obviously, and we're heading into a new month. And that always brings new opportunity. But we have a steady slate of events here at Bear Bull Traders all the time. This week, we start on Monday, as we always do, with our onboarding and technology session. Carlos is leading that, sometimes with the help of his friends, but it's really an opportunity to get familiar with the BBT community and trading in general. If you got some questions, it's a great place to go. Sometimes people are intimidated asking questions, thinking that they're just too simple or too basic. This is the place for that. Although you can ask them anytime in our community. We've got lots of people that are always happy to help, and we all know what it's like because we all started at the same point you're at. So don't ever be shy. But if you're new to the community and want to join this, that's at 8 o'clock tonight. That moves us to Tuesday, where we focus on strategy and trade book. Strategy work is going to be the focus tonight with Paris. He's going to talk to us about a scalping technique, and there's been a ton of interest around this. Everybody wants to know how to read the tape. I mean, we were talking about this a lot, both on at Peak Capital Trading as well as here at Bear Bull Traders. And it's a tough skill. It's probably one of the toughest skills to get down in trading. Reading charts is relatively simple compared to this. But it's not simple. But compared to the tape reading, it moves so fast. There's so much to absorb, and you have to do it in real time, and you have to do it, with quickly. So Paris is going to break it down how he looks at it. That's at 8 o'clock tomorrow night in our webinar room. Hopefully, you'll join us for that. And then Wednesday, we focus on psychology. Mike is going to be looking at how to find the right trading strategy for you. Trading strategies are as unique as the individual trading them. You can't just pick up someone's strategy and trade it out of the box. It's a good place to start, but eventually you will inevitably start to make it your own. I like to use athletic analogies, and like any good athlete, right? They started with the same skills any other kid did, but eventually along the way they figured out how to make it their own, and that's what made them, the star that they became, especially when you look at pro athletes. So, you've got to do the same with your trading. If you want to really make it in this business, you got to pick up a strategy and make it your own, or you'll end up creating your own. Mike will talk to you on Wednesday about how you can do that and how to step you through that process. So that's 8 o'clock once again in the webinar room. Thursdays, we focus on mentorship. We have 2 sessions, one at 11 and one at 8 p.m. So 11 a.m. with John and 8 p.m. with Thor. Great opportunity to get all of your questions answered. It's really more interactive and more in depth on topics that you want to talk about. You run the agenda. Really, we sort of live off of your questions in these sessions and really have an opportunity for you to directly interact with those mentors. So hopefully you'll join us for those once again in the webinar room. If you want to get real-time data at any time, any day, anytime, take a look at tradingterminal.com. We've got tons of information in there, and we're constantly upgrading it. Our intent is to make it the one-stop shop for all active traders. Go in there and you can look at our market overviews, our data, our news. I use it for the calendar to understand what's happening in the markets, both from an earnings and a dividend point of view. I also look at it for IPOs and, of course, for our market, high-level market news. So, take a look at that. You can use our real-time scanners. You can use our simulator. There's all sorts of great stuff in there. So hopefully you'll check out tradingterminal.com for anything that you want to look at for trading. And if you don't see something in there, there's a feedback button. Hit the feedback button in Trading Terminal, and we will respond. Artie is all over that as the head of that, and he is making sure that developers are very actively making changes against what our user needs are, including dark mode. Something I love because I trade with black charts, and you can flip this into dark charts now, which is something that our users requested. So there you've got it, right? So use the feedback; it works. If you want to join us in the room here at Bearable Traders, we'd be happy to welcome you. And unlike what I was saying 2.5 weeks ago, we got it straight now. The introduction offer is basically it's a $1 nominal fee. It's really a free service. We want to get you familiar with our education services, so it gives you a free introduction. We've had a ton of people take us up on that. Don't be shy in doing that. It's a great opportunity to see some of what we offer. You can get access to some of our day trading and options courses, as well as that onboarding session that I was talking about that happens tonight with Carlos. If that convinces you to join, or you're ready to join, then look at one of our longer term offers through our basic or elite levels. Or if you really want to commit, then the best deal is using the elite annual, which gives you a 60% discount off of the monthly price. Consider doing that. Gives you the discounted price of only $9.99, and you can join us here all the time. Don't forget that we have 2 trade rooms, right? It's not only about stock trading, which is what Carlos and I focus on primarily as we do the pre-market show. We also have an options trading room. And Jared and Megan are in there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they're running that options room. They've got it started here already on this Monday, so take a look for them there. All right, with that, we've got some levels set. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at those levels. I saw Jared and Megan. They're big, pretty faces up there. But we'll get back to these levels.
Let's get to it. Just to clarify again, over on our chat room, again, this show will still be for our members. Will still be just as it is now. Nothing changes, right? It's just over for the YouTube side that we're changing it to the new channel, which is that BBT community new channel, and that channel is going to focus on, again, this live pre-market show, members recap. We might bring that back, and also Andrew's recap is going to be moving there. And then our regular channel, the YouTube main channel, is going to be for more educational materials, like the videos you've been seeing from me, from Eamon, and from others, like we did a TWS tutorial video. That's going to be more on that channel. These breakdown trades. We did the mountain pass recently, Peter. That video for that mountain pass, has that been released yet? I don't think it has been released yet. So yeah, but that's going to be going on that video where we break down a trade that Peter took on the mountain pass, what he's looking for. So these are the type of videos you're going to be seeing there. So just kind of organize things a little bit better for you guys, right? So yeah, for those on YouTube, let me put that link here again. There we go. And then we'll get rocking and rolling. Okay, let's take a look here at our list this morning. We have Bank of America, we have SQ, we have Tesla, we have Apple, AMD, NVIDIA. Again, for Monday, not the greatest list, but not bad. There's some good ones on here that I think we can get hopefully some pretty good plays out of. Let's start with Bank of America here this morning. The first pop here was over at 27.88. We're trying to get there now, struggling, getting very, very toppy in here. That must be some kind of daily level, and it is. If you look at the charts here, guys, you can see right on there, that's an area of somewhat support, well, more support than anything. You'll be having a lot of support right around that area. So that 27.88 is coming off of that. Below this, you do have a couple of days slamming to 26.61. If we slam a level there, you see that there was some play there as well. So let's put that on there also. And then towards the bottom of that, guys, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. You do not need to add anything else. One more towards the top, just in case we get going above this high from Thursday. Just in case we get going here, which again, the banks are looking pretty strong this morning, at least the regional ones. You can see here how they're all in the green territory, driving some of these bigger banks up as well. Let's take a look at SQ. Block this morning. Huge drop yesterday, guys. Hindenburg was the piece that came out saying they're cooking their books, and this took a huge drop last week. 62.89 is the high of the pre-market this morning. Once you mark that down, the rest of the highs and lows are doing the job for you. You got a nice little range there. I don't think you need to add anything else. As you see, we're gapping up slightly, 2.1 this morning. We'll see where this goes today. Here is Tesla. As far as Tesla goes, let's remove some of the older levels we have here. Our high of our pre-market at 194.24. So we will slam one level there. Then towards the bottom, low of the pre-market, below the previous day close slightly at 189.60. Once we put that down there, you can see we're pretty much stuck between the highs and lows of the last two trading days. I don't think you need to add anything, guys. You got tons of levels in here already. And this is part of what Peter was talking about earlier, this range that we've been stuck in. When you get stuck in a range like this, we had this not so long ago as well, your highs and lows are going to be just all over the place there, creating these levels for you. So you're set there. Let's take a look at Apple this morning. Apple, also same thing, similar situation as Tesla, kind of stuck in this range. What's good about Apple today on the daily, though, you're seeing some higher highs, some higher lows being created here, slamming into this previous day close at a 160 160.25, and that is also your high of your pre-market as well. So that is nice to see. If we can get some kind of push up, some pressure, maybe this thing can get going. Low of the pre-market 159.38, we will slam your level there. Once you do that, you look at this big picture and you could clearly see the range we kind of been stuck in. The range is going to be this one here, and this is the base of that. You had a couple of days where you broke out of here, but for the most part, this is where you kind of been playing ping pong action the last 4 days at least. Let's take a look at AMD. AMD's again, their daily. Look at this was 2 weeks ago. Had a huge day here. Nvidia and all tech were just doing amazing. And then they kind of got a little bit sideways here with a couple of breakouts over to 100 and above. This morning, again, not looking all great, but we'll have to see how the market open treats this thing. 97.71 low of the pre-market. Towards the top, we do have 98, well, 99 to be exact, is the high of the pre-market. And let's see where it goes from here, guys. It can go either way, whether we want to test that 100 one more time, especially now that Peter is back. Maybe AMD wants to show him some action. We'll have to see how this plays out. Here's
Dance, monkey. Perform
Yeah.
for me.
There you go. Here is Nvidia, guys. Also very similar to AMD, has been doing very well. The only reason AMD was so hot last week was because, again, we're getting close to that 100 level, which is, as you know, could be a huge psychological level for these tickers. I think that was played a huge part on it. But Nvidia has been right behind it, guys. 270.47 high of the pre-market, the low of the pre-market 267.13. And again, similar situation. Once you mark those two, you got your range here, your highs and lows for the last two trading days, creating some good levels of support and resistance. Don't add anything else on this. Don't make it more complicated than what it is. Keep it nice and simple. It's very clean there. All right, that's our list, guys. Bank of America, Block, Tesla, Apple, AMD, and Nvidia. I think we have a pretty good list for today. All right, anything else that we might have missed? We got a little bit of time to go over some more stuff, answer some questions. This up here.
One of the things we look at in the room all the time, since we have the time, Carlos, so just mention IPOs. I keep an eye on the IPOs, and I said I've been gone over the last 2 weeks. Haven't been watching them. Come back, and my list is empty. I don't know what's going on, but there seems to be a big lack of new offerings in the market these days. Usually you at least get a few that are coming up, but there really seems to be very little that's happening. So I don't really understand what that means, but other than means we don't have the opportunity to trade them, right? And those that have come out have been generally low volume and pretty lame, frankly. So, well, I mean, obviously there's recent bank issues, but that doesn't normally stop. If you've got a company that's near launch, you're still going to want to sort of get into the market. So, I'd be interested. I should be digging into here, and I will over the next week, about what that means for venture cap. Where's that money going? Because it's usually there's big pools out there. And if they're not pulling it public, then maybe they're taking it in more private offerings, but which is not good long term for the public markets. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll answer another question on here. Someone asked, if the scanners on trading terminal are live, if there's any delays, and there's not, guys. They're live. So if you bring this over here, let me see if I could line this up correctly. So that's trading terminal there, right? See the scanners, and just look at the stuff that's happening over here as well, right? So you can clearly see it is live to the minute there, and it even tells you the time. You got time. I didn't. This must be new. I don't remember seeing this time here, but this goes updating as it goes moving here. Yeah, it does. So you can see it matches up perfectly to the other scanner I have here. So it's pretty live. JD's back on the list, and watch it. Actually, is it? JD's back on here. It's going to pop up here as well. We'll see. But yeah, it's pretty live, so you can see things to the minute happening there. Um,
Yeah. Keep in mind one thing that if there is a slight difference, the settings, right? There's a lot of settings that go on behind these
yeah,
scanners.
yeah,
So if they're not exact, you may see slightly different offerings appear on the different scanner list. I think for the most part, they're pretty similar, but there could be one or two that cause a difference between gold and JD, for example, right? Why is one
yeah.
on and not the other? That's all it is.
And something even, I'm glad you mentioned that, Peter. You bring up a very good point. For example, we know if we look at our, let's say our flow for a company, one company might have a flow at 50 million, another company will have a flow at 45 million, right? So that this scanner can be looking at a certain different data that's slightly different. We see that all the time between Finviz, Trade Ideas, and any other platform. The number could be slightly different, especially on the flow. That tends to be a number that companies don't have just one specific number, right? It seems to be just fluctuate a little bit. So if you have a filter that's including the flow, it might be on one gap versus it might never show up on another list if you don't have that, if the data is pulling it from is slightly different. So just keep that in mind, as you're building filters and looking at this information. Um, all right, excellent, guys. I see our moderators coming up with the list. We have Peter, we have Thor as well, preparing their list there. Let's see what else we have going on here on our YouTube chat. As someone asked on the YouTube chat, which ones are my top ones to go long or to go short? And this was actually another Carlos. So Carlos asked this question. But I don't look at it that way when it comes to my list. There's some people that do. It depends on your trading style. I'll give you Eamon is a great example. When Eamon looks at his list, he knows for a fact I want this for a long, I want this for a short, because the way he's trading, his reversals, his extreme parabolic reversals, he can tell in which direction he wants to take that trade in. The way I trade an ORB, open range breakout, it can go either way, really. So it doesn't really matter to me if it's going to be long or short. So I don't categorize my tickers in that sense as, hey, I want Tesla to go long or short. Now, what I will do is, let's find one here. Let's take a look, for example, at a Baba. I do this with Baba a lot because just the way it trades. When Baba is gapping up, when I have a big gap up on Baba, I am looking for a short opportunity for a sell-off because it tends to sell off better than, on the gap up days, right? You see that all over the place. Like it does this quite often. If you have and the bigger the gap up is, the bigger the sell-off. So I have some kind of a strategy or a slight bias, on what I want to see there. And if I don't see it, I don't trade it. Now, Peter, do you do something similar to your end? Do you decide, hey, this is going to be long and short, or you just kind of wait to see what the market gives you?
No, I wait and see what the market gives me. Absolutely. Because I want to know that the price action is going to support that. I need to know what the market overall is doing and then what my stock offering is doing. And, my strategies allow me to trade in either direction. So, yeah, I generally don't come into the day with that. With there is an exception. When we got a big news day and something's in play, my opening strategies, the rising devil, fallen angel, require me to have an opinion as to what it's going to do. If it doesn't do that, I don't trade. So in
Right,
that case, I
right.
will have an opinion specifically to that opening, activity. But again, that's got to be part of your strategy. At least that's how I look at it.
Yep, absolutely. One more question here, guys, in regards to our trading terminal. Yes, you can pull up two charts on it, and there's a way to do that. And I'll make a video because someone asked as well if there could be a training video on it. So we'll make a video soon on this. But if you come over to the trading terminal simulator, let's see here, where's that? Oh, were you asking for simulator or no, simulator? No. On the trading replay simulator, yes, but the actual simulator is only one chart. What can I see from right now? So stay tuned to that. That might change, but on the replay simulator, there are two charts. You got the 1 minute and the 5 minute, or whatever time frame you want. On the actual, I haven't checked the replay, the real time simulator. I'm looking at it now. No, I don't. I think it's only one chart for now, but stay tuned to it, man. Already, he probably it's hearing this right now and putting it down somewhere, and next thing you know, this thing will come up later down the line. So stay tuned for that. Guys, we're all set.
I mentioned
Yep.
Carlos. We mentioned earnings on CCL. So, and it was going to
Yes.
be released at 9:15. Here we are. A minute later, you can see the stock price jumped there. Some volume came in, so maybe this will be in play. So I'm going to wait for more of the news to come out. I find sometimes the first little bit isn't always super accurate, but looks like that they. I'm just trying to read it
Mm,
here. Net loss, blah blah blah. Adjusted EPS 55 cents. So slightly better than the guidance that they provided, and but they are citing some unfavorable impact from fuel prices. No surprise, I was
mhm.
at the pumps myself, having driven a lot over the last couple
I'm
weeks, and
sure.
man, gas is expensive.
Yeah, yeah, it sure is. It sure is. Um,
Thank
the
goodness I'm only driving a car and not a cruise ship. But anyway,
slightly difference in the amount of consumption there.
exactly.
Oh man. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let me bring this over here, and we'll look at our list right here. Excellent. Let's see what our moderators are watching this morning. So let's take a look here. All right, perfect. So we're looking at Peter, your list: AMD, Tesla, Bank of America. Secondary list: CCL, FRC, and Nvidia. Thor, you're looking at Tesla, Bank of America, the overall market. Brian, Tesla, CSHW, SQ, and DUS. And then
Charles
Mike, you're
Schwab.
looking at
Hmm.
yeah. I was going to think about that. Do they have any news, or it's just banking stuff going? Probably banking
I'm just
stuff.
looking here. No, it's not doing anything
Oh,
particular right now, but hey, Brian, sometimes he knows how to pick them.
yeah, yeah. Mike looking at Tesla and SQ, and Susan will be looking at Nvidia, JP Morgan, and her secondary Tesla and her secondary list Coin and Oxy today, for possible opportunities. All right, guys, we are all set. Brian and Andrew up next trading live this morning as we see CCL just try to figure out what he wants to do here. Does he want to go? Does he want to drop? Is having a little action for us this morning. Great volume. I'll add this to my second. Oh, I have it on my secondary list already. Okay, we'll see where this goes from here. Guys, thank you so much for being with us live here in the pre-market show this morning. Again, another reminder. I know this is going to get annoying, but don't want you guys to miss it. There's the link for the new YouTube channel. By the end of this week, we're going to be switching over to that. Maybe Wednesday. Maybe try streaming in both places so we don't miss anyone. But that could be difficult. But we will definitely be switching over to that channel. So make sure you add that to your list. All right, Peter. Anything else we might have missed?
Oh, I think we got it covered.
Okay, excellent. Oh, one more thing. I just you mentioned this earlier, Peter, but just another reminder, guys. The options room Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday, 9 a.m. to 11. So those guys get going right about now, a few minutes ago. So if you're interested in options, go check them out over in that room. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Today being Monday, they're rocking and rolling there. So take a look at that. All right, excellent. With that said, Peter, welcome back, guys. Stay safe. We will see you guys tomorrow morning at 8:30. Have an amazing day.
Take care, everybody.